Mr. Bagaya, you are welcome, sir. Glad to have you in the midst of us. So without further ado, let me ask my director, Dr. Andrew Mold, to proceed with the welcoming remarks and also introductory remarks of this meeting. Dr. Mold, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Didier. Welcome again, Karabuni, Habari Zazabuhi, bonjour, good morning, everybody. So, distinguished participants, colleagues and partners, it's a great pleasure to welcome you today to this validation workshop on inland waterway transportation policy harmonization for seamless multimodal transport and trade facilitation in Eastern Africa. The title of the document is a long one, but it's a very important document. And I'd like to just start by thanking our partners, the Central Corridor, Mr. Charles Galinda, the Northern Corridor representative, Mr. John Deng Diading, and very importantly, the representative of the government of Uganda, Permanent Secretary, Mr. Waiswa Bagaya. The representation in this meeting, as we heard from the tour de table that we did earlier, is good. So we have not only government officials from the region, but also representatives of the private sector, the port authorities, and I think this is a very important thing to state. Normally, from the Economic Commission of Africa, our sub-regional office deals with the 14 countries of Eastern Africa. And it's defined as quite a large region. So we have one extreme Eritrea, all the way down to Madagascar, Seychelles, all the way over the Democratic Republic of Congo. But we do not normally include in our meetings for Eastern Africa Zambia or Malawi, which are covered by our office in Southern Africa, in Lusaka. So you're especially welcome to have representation from Zambia, Flora Simumba, and Malawi, John Bosco Piri. So thank you very much for joining us. It's very important that we have inclusive representation when we're talking about these corridors because it impacts on a very much a larger sub-region. I myself have a background as a development economist, and I took a keen interest in economic history. And I know the use of inland waterways has been instrumental in helping other parts of the world develop. So China, for example, created the Great Canal many centuries ago, 1,700 kilometers of canal which knitted the country together, carrying grain and goods across China. In Europe, the canal networks were also extremely instrumental, and so were the inland waterways. So, for example, on the Rhine in Central Europe, you would see an incredible level of industrialization and intra-regional trade because of that trading route. Now, in Eastern Africa, we have the advantage of the Great Lakes. It's often observed that the African continent in aggregate doesn't have many navigable rivers. It's one of the difficulties of the geography of the continent, which has meant it's very difficult to conduct a lot of trade using inland waterways. But that is not really true for our sub-region, because Eastern Africa, the Great Lakes region, is a tremendous asset for our economies, and that needs taken advantage of. Now, in recent years, we've seen a number of important initiatives. We've seen steps forward in the use of the more intensive use of the inland waterway transport network. So, for example, the investments we've seen in Kisumu Port, for example, has led to the situation where now Uganda can import its oil across Lake Victoria. And I think part of this process is opening up new options both to countries and the private sector in terms of the way goods are traded within our regions. So it's very important that we have strong northern and central corridors, but it's also important that we have inland waterway transport options which are viable. And it's good to see some things are going in the right direction. The Ugandan example, for example, has pricked the interest of other member states in the region and also taken interest of using more intensively Lake Victoria. Lake Tanganyika, all these large bodies of water need to be fully utilized, I think, for the benefit of the regional economies. And so I think this framework is a very important step in progressing towards that. Now, the opportunities here are because waterways offer cost-effective, low-emission transport for bulk goods. They reduce congestion on our roads and help mitigate environmental degradation. And with the African Continental Free Trade Area, we are looking at ways of enhancing the ability of countries to trade amongst themselves. You will all be familiar with the statistic that only 15–16% of African trade is intra-regional, intracontinental. I would just stress that for the countries here present of Southern and Central Africa, Eastern Africa, that figure is not actually representative of the economic realities for our member states. And in actual fact, intra-African trade represents around, on average, 30% of the total exports for the region. So the continental market, even before the AFCFTA is fully operational, is already the most important market for many of our member states. Inland waterway transport has an important role in impulsing that intra-African trade component even further, so it can be a real motor of development for the region. Now, at the Economic Commission for Africa, under the guidance of our Executive Secretary, Claver Gatete, who was the former Minister of Infrastructure in Rwanda, and so is very, very enthusiastic about this kind of policy initiative, our office has been helping support analytical studies and policy dialogues such as that, such as this one. The Kigali Policy Dialogue, which was held, I believe, in 2022, is that correct, Gracian? Came up with a number of 67 actionable recommendations. And since then, national consultations have taken place in 9 countries which have informed the draft roadmap and strategic plans that we're here to validate today. So the objectives of this workshop are quite clear. We need to validate the roadmap for inland waterway transport policy harmonization. We need to validate the strategic plans for the northern and central corridors. And we need to discuss challenges and opportunities and propose concrete interventions. And so by the end of this workshop, we aim to have achieved an agreed roadmap and strategic plans, strengthened regional consensus on priority actions, enhanced awareness of inland waterways' role in trade and transport action. So I'd like to just finish with a call to action here about the importance of these exercises of harmonization. Harmonization is extremely important in terms of achieving continental integration. It's not the most exciting area, perhaps, of policy, harmonization, but it is a very fundamental and important one, and it lays behind all processes of regional integration. My own country made a tremendous mistake. I'm originally from the United Kingdom. Tremendous mistake leaving the European Union. And part of it was through the insistence of certain parties that harmonization was not a good thing, and that the United Kingdom needed to be free to make its own rules and regulations. The result of that has actually been a collapse of our trade with our European partners and a decline of our economy by about as much as 6% is the current estimate. We've lost 6% of our GDP because of the withdrawal from the European Union. And this was premised on the idea that harmonization is not a good thing. I think the Brexit example shows very much harmonization is a good thing. It facilitates things for business. It makes matters much easier for our private sectors to engage in cross-border trade and investment, and allows us to realize the goals of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So essentially, my call of action here is that harmonization of inland waterway transport policies is not just a technical exercise, It is a strategic imperative, and it's about unlocking regional trade potential, achieving the AFCFTA goals, and building a greener, more resilient future. So let us seize this opportunity. Let us ensure that inland waterways of Eastern Africa reclaim their rightful place as energies of prosperity for the whole of the region. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Mold. Indeed, thank you for reminding us a number of important initiatives of inland waterway transport networks that already exist in our region. Also for reminding us that 30% of total exports of intra-African trade in the region is their actual number, and also reminding us that we need to validate the roadmap and strategic plans with regional consensus on priority actions out of this room by tomorrow. Thank you. So without further ado, let me also request the Executive Secretary of the Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency, so Mr. Kalinda, Charles Kalinda, to have also the welcoming remarks and also greet this assembly.
Thank you, Moderator. Permanent Secretary, the Ministry of Transport and Public Works, Republic of Uganda, Director General of UNECA, Sub-Region Office, Executive Secretary of the Northern Corridor, distinct delegates from member states, are all protocol observed. I'm honored to deliver these remarks on behalf of the Executive Secretary of the Central Corridor Secretariat, Mr. Advocate Flori Okanji Okonge, who would have wished to be here today, but due to equally pressing priorities, he could not attend. This workshop marks an important step in strengthening regional connectivity, promoting safe and efficient inland waterways transport, and advancing economic integration across our region. Wide consultations across member states have been shown that the inland waterways subsector is lagging behind, with countries at different levels of development. Therefore, we need to give this sector more focus if we are to promote a multimodal, seamless, and cost-effective transport system for the region. The policies and action plans and the roadmaps we are validating today should guide our next steps as ensuring safety, regulatory compliance, and smooth movement of people, goods, and services. In partnership with UNECA, we look forward to maintaining this momentum as we implement this action together. On behalf of the Executive Secretary, I sincerely thank once again UNECA Director General for the continued partnership that supports on the implementation of our mandate within the corridors. At the Central Corridor Secretariat level, we are currently developing a new year strategic plan for 2026-2031. To ensure ownership and effectiveness of implementation, we wish to assure UNECA that, and delegates from the member states, that several of the actions validated will be incorporated into our strategic plan for the next 5 years. We look forward to productive deliberations and successful validation process as we work together to build harmonized, modern, and efficient inland waterways transport framework for our regions. I thank you so much.
Another round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. This workshop is an important step in strengthening the regional connectivity. So let me also welcome the Executive Secretary of Northern Corridor, Mr. John Dieng, to have also the welcoming remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moderator. I'm challenged by the Central Corridor. That was so brief. I might be a bit longer than that. Yeah, guest of honor, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Works and Transport, Republic of Uganda, Director of Sub-Regional Office, Dr. Andrew Hall, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Transport, Infrastructure, Equipment, Social Housing, Republic of Burundi. And I had to give him special recognition because the chair of the Northern Corridor Executive Committee currently. Representatives of member states, colleagues from Central Corridor, good morning. My name is John Deng Diarding, the Executive Secretary of the Northern Corridor Transit and Transport Coordination Authority. It is a great honor to join you today at this important validation workshop for the roadmap to harmonize inland waterway transport policies across Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to express my sincere appreciation to the host government of Uganda, to the partner states represented here, to UNECA's Sub-Regional Office for Eastern, and to all stakeholders whose commitment has brought us together. The objective of this validation workshop is to examine, refine, and agree on harmonized framework that will guide the development, regulations, and integration of inland waterway transport across our region. We are here to ensure that the roadmap reflects our shared aspirations for safe, efficient, sustainable, and interconnected water-based transport systems. The roadmap will set the foundation for coherent legislation, common safety protocols, joint investment planning, and seamless multimodal connectivity across our inland waterways in our region and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, it is therefore important to note that this is not merely a technical expertise exercise, as earlier mentioned. It is a strategic intervention aimed at transforming the way our region moves goods and people, while strengthening resilience, reducing transport costs, and unlocking new economic opportunities for the millions of our people in the region and across the continent. Our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, inland waterways are underutilized, but a strategic mode for low cost, low carbon, high capacity transport options that can decongest roads, reduce logistics costs, and improve connectivity for partner states. From Lake Victoria to the River Congo, from Lake Tanganyika to the Nile, from Lake Kivu to Lake Albert, Lake Nyasa. Our region possesses vast inland waterways assets. If effectively harmonized, regulated, and modernized, could profoundly reshape regional trade and mobility. Ladies and gentlemen, inland waterways offer the potential to reduce pressure on overburdened road transport in our regions, lower freight transport costs, improve safety and efficiency, promote greener transport options consistent with global climate commitment. It can also strengthen, or they will strengthen, if well utilized, multimodal linkage is essential for the long-term competitiveness. And we are all aware that Northern Corridor is working around the clock to connect Lake Victoria to the pipeline that comes from Mombasa and the railway. And our main goal is to ensure that there is intermodal connectivity that is seamless and affordable to all our users of the corridor. Yet today, ladies and gentlemen, this potential remains underutilized due to fragmented regulations, safety challenges, variable infrastructure quality, and limited coordination among partner states. This roadmap is therefore timely, necessary, and transformative, if achieved and utilized. Distinguished guests, as we reflect on harmonizing inland waterways, it is important to recognize the broader regional transport framework under which we operate. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly talk about the Northern Corridor. As we all know, this is an opportunity for me to share who we are and what we do. The Northern Corridor is a vital multimodal transport route linking the landlocked countries of Great Lakes region to the port of Mombasa in Kenya. It was established in 1985 under the Northern Corridor Transit and Transport Agreement. It serves as a lifeline to interstate and transit trade, facilitating the movement of goods and people across 6 countries of Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, and DRC. The agreement provides a regional framework for collaboration in transport infrastructure, trade facilitation, and economic development. It has had objectives of improving custom procedures and harmonizing them, harmonizing transport policies, promoting environmental sustainability, and promotion of economic investment through private sector framework. Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, through the Northern Corridor framework, the member states have realized numerous milestones, including enhanced collaboration among member states, harmonization of national laws and instruments, ratification of various protocols, both regional and continental. Created awareness on how important it is that our economic progress are interwoven. We have interfaced custom processes and we have reduced non-tariff barriers along our corridors, and especially the Northern Corridor. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the region has also witnessed major improvements in the efficiency and modernization of our transit systems, including introduction of high-speed weighing in motion technology, which is you do not have to stop to be weighed. You drive through the weigh bridges while driving. We've decongested and automated operations at the port of Mombasa. Now we have all the custom officers in Mombasa from all the 6 countries, and including Tanzania. Domestication of regional vehicle load control, expansion of corridors, membership, and many more. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Northern Corridor has consistently highlighted the strategic role of inland waterways in corridor planning. As such, in recent years, the Northern Corridor has intensified efforts to promote inland waterway transport as an integral part of the corridor's multimodal architecture. Without repeating what has been extensively discussed in technical sessions and will be discussed in the course of the day, I wish to highlight just a few strategic interventions that we have done so far. One, we have concluded comprehensive studies to establish the status of inland waterway transport in the Northern Corridor region, and this document was quite instrumental in the study that was conducted by UNECA. The Northern Corridor has also developed a monitoring framework for inland waterways to integrate inland waterways transportation performance into the Northern Corridor Transport Observatory. On safety aspect, we distributed life jackets and communication equipment to all the member states of the Northern Corridor, just as a token to improve on safety in our lakes and rivers. We are currently undertaking a comprehensive study on Lake Victoria's navigation safety with the support of GIZ. Capacity building for South Sudan Ministry of Transport has been enhanced to bring South Sudan on board to utilize its wealth of inland water transport, and that is the River Nile. We have been undertaking targeted missions, like, for example, currently we are working on the River Congo, where we are trying to improve and modernize the River Congo, the Kisangani port, and connect it to the Northern Corridor by promoting development of roads that connect to the borders of Uganda and South Sudan. The Northern Corridor is also in the process of recruiting an individual consultant to support RCDA, that is the Rwanda Transport Development Agency, in inland waterways transport matters. The Northern Corridor is also engaged in resource mobilization currently to advance many interventions in member states. That includes support to capacity development of professionals, institutional arrangements, and policies that are necessary for the efficient operation of the inland water transport. These initiatives, ladies and gentlemen, demonstrate our readiness to contribute meaningfully to harmonized and resilient inland waterway transport ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, the roadmap before us represents the collective work of experts, partner states, regional institutions, and development partners. Its validation today will mark the beginning of coordinated action across our region and provide a unified framework to strengthen safety, environmental stewardship, institutional coordination, and integration of inland waterways within an efficient and modern multi-modal transport system, reinforcing the region's competitiveness in both regional and global trade. Ladies and gentlemen, the Northern Corridor Transit and Transport Coordination Authority remains fully committed to supporting our member states in putting this roadmap into action through monitoring and mobilization of resources and technical guidance. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I urge all of us to meaningfully contribute to this shared vision of a seamless, safe, and sustainable multimodal transport network across Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. Together, we can chart a path that transforms our waterways into true engines of prosperity, as earlier mentioned by Andrew. I thank all of you for your dedication, your expertise, and your continued commitment. And I look forward to fruitful deliberations and to our collective endorsement of this roadmap. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking your time to listen. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
May I request also another round of applause, please, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. John Dieng, for reminding us that this is not merely a technical meeting, but also it's a platform to discuss strategic interventions to unlock opportunities for our countries. So, Mr. Permanent Secretary, before you have the floor, I wanted to inform you that this meeting has elected a bureau. So before you come in, you had an election, a fair, independent election, and your country, the Pearl of Africa, Uganda, was elected as the chair of the meeting. And the co-chair is the Northern Corridor, and the rapporteur, the East Central Corridor. And I would like to welcome you, Mr. Bagea. So Mr. Bagea Waiswa is the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Work and Transport, and he's the one who oversees all the operations related to transport in the ministry. So, Mr. Bagea, you have the floor to have the opening remarks.
The Director, United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, and your staff, my colleague, the PS from Burundi, the Executive Secretary, Northern Corridor, who is my son, our dear consultants, Executive Secretary, Central Corridor, who is here with us, representative of government institutions from member states. Of course, amongst these, I should do in a special way welcome the representative from the member state of Malawi, Mr. J.B. Fili, and Zambia, Madam Simumba. Why I welcome them in a special way, they are new members of the Central Corridor. We previously had the Northern Corridor, the Central Corridor, and the Southern Corridor. The Southern Corridor was Tanzania, Malawi, and Zambia. But we said, why don't we join the two? Here we have a saying that Okwega Tagemani, that unity is strength. So that one reinforced the corridor. You are most welcome. Members of the press, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as you have been already introduced, my name is Bagea Waiswa. I'm lucky I've been in the sector for some time, and I've been chair of the executive boards of both corridors 2 times. So I know something about these corridors, and why I'm saying that, today I'm very happy that this workshop is combining the 2 corridors, the Northern Corridor and the Central Corridor. There is a tendency for the 2 to behave like they are rivaling for business, which is unfortunate. We should work to ensure that smooth flow of goods, cargo from the ocean up to their final destination, whether from Dar es Salaam or whether from Mombasa. That is the gist of the matter. So I'm very happy that the 2 are here, and I think we should really emphasize working together for the purposes of fair movement of our cargo for the benefit of the wananchi, the citizens. I would like that said also to add that this morning I had started with a meeting where we are trying to conclude phase 1 of construction of a high capacity inland port on the shores of Lake Victoria at a place called Vukasa. This is a very important project for us. As you know, we are land linked and we don't have a port to talk of. Portobello is a pier. Isn't that Deng, Dr. Deng? Jinja is also a pier. So we don't have a port to talk of. So we are starting construction of a port on 400 hectares of land. Why? We don't want to be the choke point on the corridors. Needless to say, you know what is happening in the rest of our colleague countries. Tanzania has done very well with the Central Corridor. They have expanded the port of Dar es Salaam. They have also done tremendous work on the port of Mwanza. And sooner or later, the standard gauge rail will be running from Dar es Salaam up to Mwanza. And that means a lot of cargo will be deposited at Mwanza. We must have capacity to evacuate that cargo. On the other hand, Kenya has also done great work on the port of Mombasa, and they've also done a lot of expansion on the port of Kisumu. And very soon also, the standard gauge rail will come to Kisumu. So we must do something about it. We must have the capacity to evacuate all the cargo which comes so that our brothers and sisters from South Sudan, from Burundi, from Rwanda can even pick their merchandise from it. And that is when things will be smoothened up. So we are moving in that direction. We hope that in the next 3-4 years, we shall have that port up and running. I'd like to thank the Republic of Kenya, the United Republic of Tanzania for leading in these 2 corridors. They are the main hosts of the corridors and have invested quite a lot in these corridors. I thank them so much. That said, allow me now to turn to my prepared text of the speech. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this technical validation workshop on inland water transport policy harmonization in Eastern Africa. This engagement brings together key actors committed to strengthen a mode of transport that remains potentially the most economical, viable, and environmentally sustainable. Our region is endowed with extensive inland water bodies, including lakes, Victoria, Tanganyika, Albert Chivu, among others, as well as river systems such as River Nile and Akagera River. These waterways offer immense potential to support trade, reduce logistics costs, and contribute to greener transport solutions. Yet, despite this natural advantage, the inland water transport sector continues to face persistent challenges, including outdated port infrastructure, poor first and last mile linkages, inadequate regulatory frameworks, and gaps in navigational safety. Historically, inland waterways on Lake Victoria played a central role in East Africa's cargo transportation system. They provided the vital connection between hinterland meter gauge railway infrastructure and the seaports of Mombasa and Dar es Salaam through port nodes such as Mwanza and Musoma in Tanzania, Portobello and Jinja in Uganda, and Kisumu in Kenya. However, the performance of the sector has declined significantly. In Uganda, for instance, cargo through Portobello has dropped from approximately 1 million tons in the year 2000 to less than 30,000 tons annually in recent years, which is regrettable. This decline has intensified the pressure on our road network, contributing to congestion, increased road maintenance costs, heightened road safety risks, and environmental degradation due to increase in greenhouse gas emissions. When you reduce transportation by water, you increase transportation by road, which is really a problem. And things like oil and the oil products should not really move on the road. Our president has emphasized it. We have had a number of tragedies. A oil tanker gets a problem, poor people come to harvest the oil. And what happens next? The oil products explodes like a bomb. We buried some people in a mass grave some time back on the road from Malava to Kampala. Nobody could be identified, so it was a question of burying remains. Oil should move on train, on rail, or on water. That is the safest. To address this decline, governments across the region have initiated investments aimed at revitalizing inland water transport. In Uganda, they include the enactment of Inland Transport Act of 2021, ongoing development at Bukasa Port, which I've already mentioned, a newly completed port at Ntoroko on Lake Albert, and the ongoing plan to upgrade Port Bell into a modern green port. That one is an initiative which is being done by European Union and the Central Corridor. Mr. Karinda, we are very grateful with that initiative. Across the region, we acknowledge complementary efforts such as the rehabilitation of Kisumu Port in Kenya, Mwanza Port in Tanzania, and Rwanda's commitment to improving the navigability of the Akagera River. Further, joint interventions like establishment of maritime search and rescue centers and installation of aids to navigation are expected to drastically increase navigation safety across our lakes. Last week I was in Mwanza to inspect the new search and rescue facility, which connects the whole Lake Victoria. And it's quite a good job done. We have also encouraged and promoted participation of private sector in the inland water transport sector. Uganda has supported the companies such as the East African Maritime Transport Company, which operates the MV Mpungu, with a roll-on, roll-off vessel at Port Bell. We have also supported the company known as Mahas Infra, operating a modern petroleum standing terminal at Kauku in Entebbe. These investments are helping to restore confidence in the sector. However, infrastructure development alone will not deliver the transformation that we desire. Inland water transport cannot thrive in isolation. Without a comprehensive approach, multimodal integration of water and land modes of transport, the full potential of these waterways remains undermined. That is why today's validation workshop is so timely. It offers an opportunity to advance harmonized regional policies that will support seamless multimodal transport, facilitate trade, and strengthen regional integration. As we deliberate, I invite you to pay particular attention to key policy areas, which include 1, vessel registration and licensing, 2, safety and security standards, 3, customs and immigration procedures, 4, infrastructure planning and development, 5, modern port administration and operational practices, and 6, environmental and social safeguards. A harmonized framework in these areas will deliver numerous benefits, which may include the following: a strong regional integration by aligning policies to support economic growth and improve livelihoods across our countries. 2, seamless multimodal transport to enable smooth movement of goods across road, rail, and water networks, therefore reducing costs of doing business. 3, enhance trade facilitation through a unified approach to increase trade volumes and expand the economic opportunities through the region. And 4, greater efficiency, safety, and investment with common standards so that the region can realize improved safety, security, strong cooperation, and increased investor confidence. With these benefits in mind, I urge this validation workshop to produce the following. First, a regional inland waterways transport policy framework, which our consultant will take us through. 2, a practical regional coordination mechanism among relevant maritime authorities. 3, a clear roadmap for implementation, monitoring, and reporting of progress. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend my appreciation to the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Sub-Region Office for Eastern Africa, and the Central Corridor Transport Authority for organizing this workshop. Thank you very much for the facilitation and for the organization. We are grateful. I also would like to commend the consultants for their diligent work done so far, and you, the participants, for your commitment to improving inland water transport in our region. Consultant, thank you for the job well done so far. In the same way, I would like to thank the organizers for having chosen to host this validation workshop in Kampala. Kampala is not an easy area to go sometimes, but you are here. And please, take a time to move around. Those of you who are new, but take care with the boda boda. If a vehicle misses you, the boda boda will not miss you. So that one I have to caution you. The other time I was in Dar es Salaam, somebody asked me, but you people, how do you manage in Kampala? I said, no, we know how to drive through. The boda boda will not care about himself, but you, the one driving, you'll be the one to take care of him and his passenger. So it's not that easy, but we are going to sort it out. So with these remarks, I would like to take this opportunity to wish you very fruitful deliberations during the workshop. And I also take the same opportunity to declare the workshop open. Thank you for your competence.